The Nashorn was introduced in 1943 and sported an 88mm gun, which, as you can see on my model, is slightly off centre because I had to glue it right like that. It was a particularly successful vehicle. It was also, and people overlook this, a fairly cheap one to produce. They already had plants making 88s. They already had Mark III and Mark IV chassis. This one obviously is a Mark IV. So they didn't have the tooling costs, the research and development costs, the ludicrous rubbish that the Germans used to spend money on. I mean, you know, a load of these, a load of Panzer IVs, and you're laughing. Open crew compartment, which must have been pretty cold and pretty unpleasant for the poor blokes who had to crew these things. There are quite a lot of photos of these with big tarpaulins mounted over the gun shield, and you'd want a bit of weather protection. The gun shield, this shield here, has to go on, and it's worth really going with the instructions. You can't put the gun in place and then put this shield in place. And I did read an article in Military International where they do need a little touch of filler just down here. It doesn't sit quite right, which is really quite annoying for what essentially is a brand new Tamiya model. Other than that, it just goes together. It was really nice to paint, and I chose a sort of slightly, well, you can see what I've chosen. I don't talk about it very much, do I? They were really well regarded. There's a story of one knocking out a Sherman at 2.8 kilometres, which, whether it's true or not, is a pretty good story. But they would certainly, you know, rip open Russian vehicles and obviously British and American vehicles as well, like a tin opener. So they were cheap. They were very, very effective. They were fairly quick because they obviously weighed less than their turreted version. Not very well protected. And talking of speed, it could actually do 42 kilometres an hour, which is what, about 30 or so. So that's not too shabby. It was a nice model to build. It really, there was a couple of bits where I do find Tamiya instructions a little bit fiddly and a little bit inaccurate. And I put these markings on it. This seems to be the version people go for. I do like that decal with the name on the side. And the only other option is one with love hearts on it, which I thought, yeah, that's a bit, no, not doing that. It just looks silly on any vehicle. That is the Nashorn. Nashorn is German for rhino, and it's interesting if you do a Google search for Nashorn, the amount of rhinos that come up. So yeah, it was a nice vehicle. The gun breech was quite fiddly, and again, there were one or two places where I wasn't entirely sure where everything had to go. But apart from that, it turned out to be, I think, a really nice kit and a really nice display piece.